Hi friends, in today's current affairs session, I am going to discuss on United States of America's foreign policy in Middle East. Okay, so in this US foreign policy, especially with the Middle East, today I am going to discuss. Because this Middle East is very important region. So when I say Middle East, what exactly that region is about, you people get a doubt. So Middle East is nothing but this entire Saudi Arabia, Yemen, Oman, Iran, Iraq, Turkey, Syria, Jordan, Israel. So this is the entire area, we call it as a Middle East. And this Middle East is highly fragile area. Lot of conflicts are there, both regional conflicts, religious conflict, some terrorist aspects are there in this region. Actually, when Donald Trump was in power, the United States of America's policy was different. When United States of America went for the election and when the president has changed and when Joe Biden comes to power, we thought in a different way, like United States of America's foreign policy is going to be changed. Now, if you start observing the recent incidents, some of the incidents, again it is concerning a lot for the international observers, like how United States of America is going to act in this region. Because this is a oil rich region, this region is important for the whole world because this region supplies the lot of oil to the entire world. And especially when it comes to the India's developmental needs are closely linked with this region, whether it is in terms of oil needs, whether in terms of trade, or whether in terms of investment, whether in terms of diaspora. So this region, even sometimes it is strategically, this region is important. I will come to that points later, but this region is very sensitive region and this region is highly fragile and volatile region. Now, in order to bring the peace in this region, how actually the big powers are going to act in this? Why actually I am saying big powers means, because big powers are the reason to create all these problems here. It is not today's problem, it has started since World War I. So now it is their responsibility to bring, because they wanted to control some sort of the region here. So that is the reason why now the peace and tranquility of this region is very, very important for the development of the world, especially for India. Now actually when Joe Biden came to power recently on 4th February 2021, the United States Department has given a statement of their foreign policy, their objective of foreign policy. In that foreign policy statement, what they have clearly said is emphasis on the restoration of the habit of global cooperation and also strengthen or rebuilding the democratic alliances which are actually weak. Because United States of America in the last 4 years have taken a different decision called America is first, and to serve the American interest we can go to any extent. We don't want globalization, we don't want to restore any values in any country, we don't want that. That is what that they have taken stand. But now they are saying, like, again we are moving to this global cooperation. Global cooperation is absolute. This protectionist measures like America is first or China is first or someone is first is not going to help for the development of the world and also development of the America. So that is why they are going to promote the global cooperation, and also they are going to build the democratic alliances. That means the democratic values must be prevailed and democracies must be prevailed. That is what their idea. But when it comes to the global cooperation, it is fine. But when it comes to rebuilding of this democracy, this is something very concerning, because United States of America has used the same principle of restoring the democracy and they have entered into the internal affairs of lot of countries, whether it is Iraq or whether it is some of the countries like Afghanistan, and they have completely devastated there. That experience is there, but still how they are going to rebuild these democratic alliances is a big question. Is it really bringing democracy? Is it really bringing the regime change, or is it really giving enough support to the anti-regime forces? We don't know exactly what, but they are saying like, okay, rebuilding democratic alliances and also global cooperation. Now United States of America is saying like their foreign policy is based on a balance between geopolitics plus respect for human rights. This is what their policy. So these two things they have mentioned. One is bringing global cooperation, rebuilding democratic alliance. Second one is geopolitics. Our focus is to bring the balance between geopolitics and also respect to the human right violation. So we will try to understand the strategic importance of that location. We will try to enhance the growth in that country, and at the same time we will also respect for the human rights. So this US policy is now based on the balance between geopolitics. Whatever the politics we will play with that geography. That means what are the necessary political relations, economic and trade relations we must have, we will maintain that but by respecting to the human rights. This is what the broader statement given by the United States of America. Okay, if that statement is like that, now I will come to what exactly the problem with the Middle East and what is the problem, what are the challenges. Does these principles, whatever the principles that just now I have said, are going to bring any solution, and what are the recent United States of America's actions? Recent actions. So these things you must understand. So especially when it comes to the problems with the Middle East, the main important player in this entire Middle East is Iran. This is the main player. Now United States of America is straightly confronting with this state called Iran. It is having its own border with Afghanistan, it having its own border with Pakistan, it is having border with Turkmenistan and Caspian Sea and Persian Gulf, Strait of Hormuz, Gulf of Oman. So these things geographically you must understand. Again Iraq with Turkey, with Armenia, with Azerbaijan. These are the bordering states. Now what is the problem with this Iran? Now I will try to list out some of the countries now so that you can understand the alliances. The Syria, Lebanon, some parts of the Iraq, now they are linked, and even Iran is giving some sort of assistance to some of the forces, rebel forces in Yemen also. So now Iran's influence is there in Iraq, in Syria, in Lebanon and also in Yemen. So this is where Iran is experiencing its influence. Now rival to the Iran, the another group is Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is directly confronting with the anti-rebels or the Iranian supporters in Yemen, and again it is having its own influence in this region. Now United States of America want to contain this Iran. What exactly the problem with this Iran? The exactly problem has started after 1979 revolution that happened in Iran. Later they brought some not a democratic but something like an autocratic or a theocratic government there. Now the head of the government is something a cleric, and after that only you will have the administrative heads. But when it comes to the Iran, there was a dispute that happened between US and Iran over a period of time. But in the year 2015, there was an agreement signed between P5+1 countries and Iran. So what is this P5+1? It is the United States of America, United Kingdom, France, Russia, China and Germany. That means permanent members of Security Council and Germany with Iran. So that agreement we can call it as Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, JCPOA. And who signed this agreement? When Obama was the president of US, and at that time the vice president is the present president, this Joe Biden. So under this agreement, what they have come to a conclusion is, actually there is a suspicion like Iran is enriching its nuclear facilities and even nuclear fuel, because that is very dangerous. It will create lot of avenues for the Iran to build up some atom bombs and hydrogen bombs and nuclear missiles and other thing, something it is against the peace and tranquility of the world. So that is the reason why what they have said is, they have put some conditions on what? On enrichment of this uranium fuel. So you are not supposed to produce uranium fuel than this, and you have to close all the units and everything. This condition they have mentioned here. And after that, what Iran has put condition, you need to lift all economic sanctions that is there on Iran. Now Iran can do free trade with any country. So both have come to an agreement. This was happened in the year 2015, and then everyone hopes like, okay, the relations between US and Iran is improving, so then definitely it's a good thing. But in the year 2016, there was a regime change. Donald Trump came to power. And what is this Donald Trump's allegation on this agreement of this JCPOA is, whatever the agreement that you have concluded is not insulating the Iran completely from producing some harmful weapons, because it is only talking about nuclear weapons, but it is not talking about missiles. So now Iran can do with these missiles also. So that means this is not a comprehensive agreement. So I am moving out of this agreement, and that is how America has moved out of this 2018 agreement. Later there were some discussions happened, and ultimately it was failed. Now the Iran started enriching its own nuclear fuel. Now once you just keep this Iran issue aside, now United States of America is actively fighting in Syria. In order to bring democracy, they are fighting against the Syrian president called Omar al-Bashir. And here this Omar al-Bashir, when it comes to this person, there are some anti-regime forces, that means who are against the president of the Syria. Now United States of America has started supporting those people, and because of this conflict there is a group called terrorist group ISIS has evolved in this, and United States of America is now claiming like they have successfully contained that. But in successfully containing, the United States of America has charged many things against this Omar al-Bashir, against this Syrian president, and what they have said is this president has used some chemicals and everything, and they have involved in genocide. Lot of charges has brought against him. United States of America started fighting the ISIS terrorist on one hand, and also against the existing the rule in Syria. In this conflict, because it's a big story, but just try to understand, there was a terrorist group and United States of America is acting against the existing president of Syria. When these things are happening, Iran started supporting some of the Iraqi groups, and Iran is supporting the regime or the president of the Syria, and also they are started supporting the Lebanon groups, and there is a conflict between this Lebanon and as well as Israel, and there is a conflict between the Syria and Israel. So this conflict is there, and here Iran, and not only Iran, the entire Arab and Israel used to have some sort of disputes, but now some countries are coming to too closer with the Israel. I will come to that later, but now Iran is a bitter rival to Israel. Iran is also a bitter rival to Saudi Arabia. Iran is supporting the anti-Saudi Arabia or the anti-Israel or anti-United States of America forces. Now in this process it is supporting Syria, Lebanon and Iraq, and sometimes they are assisting with some sort of missiles and they are attacking, and even when it comes to some of the ships that they are moving in this, some United States of America's ships or any vessels, they are started attacking here, and even they have attacked some of the bases in Iraq. United States of America is having some bases in Iraq. Iran is attacking the bases in US, and last time there was a revenge taken by the United States of America's forces by killing the top commander of Iran, Qasem Soleimani, and after that the relations were completely there was a huge gap happened in this. when these conflicts are happening, Joe Biden came to power. Now the Joe Biden said like, I may revive the nuclear deal so that we will come to a previous agreement, so that we can end all these things. So this is what the principal policy that is said by the Joe Biden. But now the challenge is how you resolve this nuclear deal or the JCPOA. How you are going to settle this JCPOA deal is a big question. And now the relations with this Middle East are so complicating because recently the Iranian backed Shiite militia attacked the US coalition force in Iraq. Recently this Iran forces has attacked some base in Iraq after Joe Biden came to power. So again after Joe Biden came to power, Iran started attacking in Iraq. It's not on Iraqi forces, it's United States of America forces. So now the two things are there here you need to settle. First one is how you will settle that agreement, the nuclear agreement, how you will bring that nuclear agreement. Second one is how you will stop this Iranian support to these forces in these countries, or otherwise how United States of America is going to deal with this volatility in this region. So these are the two things now we need to solve. Now here when it comes to this region, the main problem with this region is it is a nation state conflicts. Here nation state conflicts are there, and also fundamentalism is there, and also terrorism is there. And it is not just only fundamentalism, it's not about the terrorism, not about nation state conflict, but also superpowers involved here. One of the superpower is United States of America. US is supporting Saudi and Israel here. And on the other hand, Russia is also supporting this Iran, because anyway Russia will support the one who will oppose US. And now recently this Russia is also entering here. Now the China is also entering into this Iran, and Chinese presence not only Iran but China is presenting everywhere. Earlier Turkey used to be the ally of United States of America, but now Turkey started closely moving towards Russia. So now you need to solve the conflict with Iran and try to bring some peace in the Middle East, and you need to counter the other rivals here. How you are going to do? This is the big question. And how this promoting globalism and bringing democratic alliance principle, how it really going to help this United States of America to bring peace here or to maintain relations here. And even this Yemen conflict is also important, because in Yemen the rebellion Houthis, this group is called Houthis, these are the minorities. The rebel Houthi groups are there, and they wanted to oust the existing president, and that president is a puppet of Saudi Arabia. That is why they wanted to move, and Saudi is attacking on these rebellions, and for this attacking United States of America is providing support to Saudi Arabia. On the other hand, Iran is supporting to these Houthi rebels. So this is also a one conflict zone. Now how you will resolve the entire conflict here? To contain Iran, United States of America has taken some steps. To contain Iran, United States of America has taken some steps. So what are those steps? You need to understand. Some of the steps is they wanted to strengthen Saudi Arabia, and also they wanted to strengthen their own ally Israel. And in this process, when Donald Trump was the president, they have concluded an accord called Abraham Accord. So what is that Abraham Accord? And this entire Arab countries having its own conflict with Israel earlier, but now they are moving out. Earlier, initially Egypt used to fight ferociously against Israel, but I think they have concluded an agreement way back in the 1979 itself with the Jimmy Carter treaty. Later Jordan is also started concluding some agreement in the 1994 with Israel. Now there are two countries have come forward to conclude an agreement and also to maintain bilateral relations with the Israel. United States of America has mediated that. And what are those two countries? And those two countries are UAE, this is United Arab Emirates, and also Bahrain. United Arab Emirates and also Bahrain. These two came close and they have signed an agreement. This agreement we call it as Abraham Accord. Initially the UAE and Israel Accord used to call it as an Abraham Accord, but now the Bahrain is also joined. Now completely Bahrain, UAE and Israel agreement we call it as Abraham Accord. Then why Saudi is not signing that agreement? Because Saudi is having its own religious importance, that is why. But now United States of America is coordinating Israel, Saudi Arabia, UAE and other groups in this region to contain the rise of Iran or to reduce the influence of Iran. That is what United States of America is doing. That is one step United States of America has done earlier. Now when it comes to the second one, there is a sudden step now taken. What is that sudden step? The sudden step is, now United States of America said, I am not going to support Saudi Arabia in Yemen. That means I am not going to support. That means it will strengthen the Iran. But that doesn't mean that I am not going to act against the Saudi Arabia. I am going to maintain relations with the Saudi Arabia, but I don't support Saudi Arabia's actions in Yemen. It gives some sort of strength to Iran. And there is a one more thing happened recently, like the Saudi Arabia's de facto leader, this MBS, and who is that MBS? The Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Actually he involved in a murder of a journalist who is the United States of America, and he is having its own relations, his lenience are with the Arab region, and he was killed in Istanbul. And recently that United States of America's some secret agency report has made it clear, like the Saudi Arabia's prince role is there, but United States of America don't want to take any decision on that because it may affect the relations with the Saudi Arabia. That means United States of America want to maintain strong relations with the Saudi Arabia, but they don't want to support Yemen in this region or in this conflict. Now how they are going to solve this Iran issue now? On the one hand, they are promoting the Saudi Arabia and also the other groups, and they don't want to involve in this conflict, but they wanted to make an agreement with the Iran. And it's not just about Iran. Now the China is also entering here. I already told. China is entering everywhere. China is trying to conclude an agreement with all other countries as far as investments are concerned. Now these countries are not in a position to oppose the China or Chinese human rights violations or Chinese developmental patterns. And when it comes to the Iran, China started developing both political, trading and economic linkage with this Iran and also especially with the Middle East. And the partnership between Iran and China has increased. China has started purchasing more and more oils from the Iran despite having sanctions on Iran by the United States of America. And also they are coming out with lot of investment proposals. Now in this condition, how you can really contain the China, how you will bring the peace in Middle East, how you will conclude agreements with the Iran? This is a big question. And also when United States of America has imposed sanctions and China is coming so closer, now the people's sentiment in Iran is moving close towards the China than America. And they are going to have a presidential elections in the month of June 2021, and if suppose a nationalistic feeling government comes to power, how it is going to be resolved is another issue. So this is entire politics you need to understand in order to understand the United States of America's policy with respect to Iran or with respect to the entire Middle East. Now I will come to the Turkey and Russia role after some time, but this is you need to understand. Now suppose if at all they wanted to conclude any agreement with the Iran or they wanted to bring a peace in the Iran, Now that agreement of nuclear agreement is very, very important. So what is that agreement? This agreement is about the nuclear sanctions. Now what America is saying, first of all you come to the normalcy, that means you come to the full compliance mechanism of 2015 agreement, then only I will lift the sanctions. But on the other hand, what Iran is saying is, you first lift the sanctions, then only I will come to your agreement. So it's a conflict. That means first you remove the sanctions, I'll come to the negotiation. But America is saying, first you comply the entire nuclear norms, that means you reduce your enrichment and you stop all your nuclear bases, and then I'll lift the sanction. And we don't know how this is going to be settled. On the other hand, Chinese intervention is increasing, the conflicts are becoming so severe, and at the same time the European Union, actually this is entire European Union part, this European Union is also come to the rescue of this Iran in some aspects. Even though United States of America unilaterally moved out of this agreement, they said like, no, this unilateralism is not so correct. But when Iran started enriching its uranium fuel, then they have said this is not something you have to do, you have to stop that enriching process. But at the same time they have condemned the actions of United States of America. And apart from condemning the action, in order to save the Iran from US sanctions, the European Union, especially some of the countries like France, Germany and UK have started a new mechanism called INSTEX. This is again prelims bit, INSTEX. So INSTEX they have started in the year 2019 January. So what is this INSTEX? It is a payment system announced by the European Union to facilitate trade with Iran to get around the US sanctions and even to avoid the US dollar. Now with this INSTEX payment mechanism, Iran can do trade with the European Union by avoiding the US dollar, because there is a sanction on Iran from the United States of America. They are not supposed to use that. But they have created some favorable mechanism to do trade with the Iran, and China started doing trade more with the Iran. So that means some of the countries have now started supporting the Iran, like European Union and also China and also Turkey, because initially Turkey is in with the United States of America. But when this war against the ISIS has ended, and I have already made a video on this Kurdish attack, you just go and watch in our YouTube channel, it is available. Actually, United States of America has acted closely with the Kurdish people to fight against the ISIS group. And in order to contain this ISIS, United States of America has actively supported the Kurdish group. This Kurdish militia is in US alliance. They have used, United States of America used this Kurdish group to fight against ISIS. But the same Kurdish group is having conflict with the Turkey. Turkey is considering this both ISIS and Kurdish groups as the terrorists. But United States of America's active support to the Kurdish and withdrawal of United States of America without settling the dispute between the Kurdish and Turkey, so it has created some conflict. Now immediately Turkey started moving towards the Russia, and when Turkey decided to purchase some S-400 air defense missile, then America started imposing restrictions on Turkey. Then immediately Turkey joined hands with the Russia. Russia is actively supporting Iran and the Syrian regime. So this is how the conflicts have become so complex. Now what you are saying, okay, I am come to an agreement with Iran, but are you succeeding in that? Because in the initial days itself there is a problem. What is that problem? You are saying like, first come to the full compliance mechanism, then only I will lift the sanction. Then Iran is saying no, first remove all the sanction, then I will come to the compliance mechanism. So this is what the conflict one. So the conflict one is about the nuclear deal. So how they are going to deal with this nuclear deal and economic sanctions. and Joe Biden has already promised like I'll again bring that sanction, I'll bring that nuclear deal, but in order to initiate the process itself there is a conflict. And recently when these Shiite forces has attacked the US base in the Iraq, immediately the US has attacked the Iran forces or the Iran bases in Syria, because I already told the Syria is also its close ally, and in the northern Iraq part Iran has attacked the US bases. Now the US forces has attacked some of the eastern part of Syria, and it is not on Syrian forces, it is on Iran forces, because Iran is closely cooperating with Syria. Now Joe Biden has given a statement called "You cannot act with impunity." This warning is to Iran. You cannot act with impunity. Don't think that I don't punish you. You must have that fear. This is a warning for you. I am going to attack. Just by attacking, he has given a warning to Iran. This is completely escalated the situation. What we thought, Biden is going to bring this country together, and also he is going to conclude an agreement, but that has not happened. On the one hand you are unable to come closer on this nuclear deal, on the other hand this defense attacks are the attacks by both Shiite forces of Iran, and also in retaliation to that United States of America has attacked. Now United States of America has given a strict warning like you cannot act with impunity. I am going to punish you. So this is escalated the condition. Now the point is how they are going to solve. What could be the America's reaction in this Iran? And until and unless if you don't settle these things, you cannot bring peace in that region. Once you bring this Iran to discussion, then how you are going to settle the entire West? That means the West in the sense the west part of Middle East like Israel, Saudi and other regions with Iran. How you are going to make a settlement between these two countries? It's still a question mark. The initiating itself is not happening. Lot of troubles that we are getting in the initial process. But even if you are able to bring the Iran to the on board, how you are going to settle the disputes with this other group with respect to Iran? So this is something concerning a lot. So this is what United States of America's foreign policy and Middle East conundrum. So there is lot of conundrum happening in the Middle East, and you are saying like I am promoting globalism, I am also promoting human rights. But does your globalism, how you are going to bring here? On the one hand your allied forces are there, on the other hand your rival is there. To bring it to the normal nuclear deal, lot of initial hurdles are there, and there is an attack and both the countries are attacked together. How you are going to bring this country into discussions, and how you are going to revive that deal, and how you are going to remove the sanctions, and how you will bring Iran into the normal condition? Is it really possible? And until and unless you bring solution to the problems in Syria, then you cannot really bring the peace, because Iran is an active supporter of Syria. And when you are doing this entire process, there are some countries, as I already told, Russia, Turkey, China is actively supporting Iran. When Iran is getting such an active support, when rivals are entering into this region, how you are going to settle this dispute is a really big question. This is what conundrum. So you need to understand that. Now this is an international issue. Now in this there are some prelims bits are there, definitely. So the prelims bits, something is about INSTEX, that's what the payment mechanism that I have said, and also the geography is important, which country is having neighboring with the other country, because lot of prelims questions were asked in this. You are not going to get any mains question, you are going to get the prelims question here. Which country is having the coastal area and which country is having the coast with the Mediterranean Sea. So which country is a landlocked country, which country is having its own border with Caspian Sea, which country is having border with Black Sea. So these are all things we are going to get. And when it comes to this INSTEX payment mechanism, it is a Paris based mechanism started by the European Union. That you need to understand one thing. And sometimes they are asking the city names, because nowadays these attacks are happened, and recently Iran backed Shiite militia attack, that attack happened in northern Iraq. That city name is Erbil, because these are the cities that asking in UPSC. So that cities also you must be very careful about that. Okay, cities aspects, geographical aspects, and if you understand okay who are the allied forces and what are the geopolitics, then you can find any solution and you can understand the issues in a much more better manner. Now, is there any concern with respect to India with this region? That is the mains question, and you will get the question in mains in this aspect. Should really India bother with this region? If yes, why it should bother? Because India should bother, because India is having its own relations, with all the countries like Iran and Gulf countries, in the Middle East, with Israel, with Saudi, with UAE, with Bahrain, with other countries, with Kuwait we are having relations, even with Iran also we are having relations. But because of the United States of America sanctions, we are unable to continue our trade with the Iran, because after 2014 India has started closely moving towards the United States of America, and when this joint comprehensive agreement has failed in the year 2018, immediately America has started sanctions, and in accordance with the sanctions India has started closing its relations with the Iran. Earlier we used to import lot of oil and we used to maintain lot of relations with the Iran, but I think these relations are strained. Now we need to revive that relations. So that relations is not only about the oil imports and trade, but it is also about the connectivity of India to the Central Asian countries like Afghanistan, Turkmenistan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, okay, these countries, because that is a resource rich region. We need to connect that region, and that connectivity is only possible through this Afghanistan and through this route, and there is a Chabahar port is there, and from Chabahar port, yes, you can connect here, because we have a bitter rival here. So that is why this direct route is not possible. So this connectivity is very important. That is the reason why there must be a peace, there must be an agreement with Iran, then only we can have this connectivity. And as long as the sanctions are there, it is very difficult for India to engage with this country, because we have our own relation with the United States of America. We need United States of America in some aspects, whether it is defense or strategic importance, and also in United Nations permanent Security Council's permanent member is United States of America. So that is why India needs United States of America. So this is the one major reason why you need a peace in this Iran or in the Middle East. Second one is when it comes to some of the developmental projects also. Actually last year we wanted to be involved in this Chabahar and Jahedan. This is in border with Afghanistan. This railway project, actually India wanted to join in this railway project, but when recently Iran has announced like India has not joined in this project, in the second phase it can join, because when India is not acting in a manner which it has to act because of United States of America, Iran is to some extent, because they don't say openly, but Iran and India relation has strained and they are bringing investment from somewhere and they are connecting these railway lines. But they said India should participate in the second phase also, but India is again concerning with the United States of America. But our connectivity is the main issue with Iran, because our connectivity to Central Asia is absolutely important for us. That is the first one. Second one is, it is about oil trade relations that I already told. Next, another one is India is exploring some of the oil refineries here. That refineries is Farzad B. Farzad B is an oil refinery, and India's ONGC has actually discovered some of the oil reserves there, and that process is delaying. So it is delaying our economic prospects, and also it is delaying our strategic aspects. So if at all we wanted to continue these things in a faster pace, there must be a peace, there must be an agreement with this country by the United States of America, then we can proceed. We can say like, okay, India is maintaining its own relations with Iran, that is only namesake, but the actual relations are completely depending on the United States of America. So this is the main problem: the infrastructure development, the connectivity issue, the economic, both import and exports issues. And Indian Railway actually wanted to do that, but that we haven't joined in that. And maybe we will join in the second phase. Again, that's all depending on our future prospects. So this is why this Iran is important. Then what about the relations with the other countries? Yeah, now India is also having relations with the other countries like the Gulf region. Mainly this GCC, Gulf Cooperation Council, 6 countries are there, and this GCC is very important for India. Why GCC is important for India? Because we are depending in lot many ways in GCC. It is about oil plus natural gas, this Middle East, because we are importing around 53% of the oil and 41% of the natural gas. We are importing it from this GCC region, this Gulf region. So that is why stability in the Gulf is absolutely important for us. It is not just oil and natural gas. Around 8.5 million Indian diaspora is there in GCC. 8.5 million. That means 85 lakh people are working, and mostly some of the people are working in this oil industry. And suppose if something is happened to that industry, these people lose the job. And if there is an instability, we don't get the oil, and our people don't get the employment. And at the same time, we are getting around $49 billion of remittances of total India's remittances of $78 billion from this region. This is very important to us. This 49 we are getting it from the Gulf region. And if there is an instability, there is a problem with these remittances, and there is also problem with the welfare of the people, and there is also problem with the employment opportunities of the people who are living in Gulf region. So that is why this region is important. And our relations have moved beyond this oil and natural gas and diaspora. Now we have moved to a new level, that is investment. Because India need lot of investment in its infrastructural projects. We have started National Infrastructural Investment Fund, we have started National Infrastructural Pipeline, like we are starting so many investment schemes. But just I want to give the sovereign wealth funds of the some other countries so that you can understand. UAE, the sovereign wealth fund is around $580 billion. If it is Kuwait, the sovereign wealth fund is around $533 billion. If it is UAE, they are having around $305 billion. These are all billion dollars. If it is Saudi Arabia, it is having $347 billion. This is the worth of the sovereign wealth funds. And India has decided last year itself, those countries who are bringing their sovereign wealth funds in the India's investment project, we will provide 100% tax free. So there is no tax on this amount. Now India is persuading the Gulf countries to invest their sovereign wealth funds in India, in India's infrastructure projects, because that is absolutely necessary for India. On the other hand, the Saudi oil companies are also engaging with Indian oil companies. They are coordinating. Saudi's Aramco is investing more and more. They are having its cooperation with both public sector and also private sector like Reliance Oil refineries. And Saudi Aramco has invested in our strategic petroleum reserves that we are developing in our country. So that means there is an investment need, there is a close cooperational need, There is a diaspora necessity, and also our oil and natural resources importing dependency is there with the Gulf region. So we are having our own relations with the Gulf region, and also we are having our relations with the Iran. So that is the reason why stability in this region is very, very important for India. That is the reason why India must support the every activity that brings peace in this region. But United States of America has to confront lot many issues. It is about its own allied group like Saudi led group, because it is a Sunni versus Shia conflict there. Because one group, United States of America's group like Saudi, UAE and other things is something Sunnis. Now they have to Iran is Shia. There is a religious conflict here. They have to solve that. They have to bring the extremism or whatever the thing in Syrian region, and they have to reduce the terrorist activities in Syrian region. They need to bring some prosperity in Syria so that they can cut the link between Iran and Syria. And there is an active support from the Turkey, Russia, China. China is intruding into this Middle East. So how you need to stop? So this is lies with the United States of America. But whatever it may be, because United States of America want to exercise its own influence there. That is the problem. That is the reason. Okay. So United States of America is facing lot of problem, but at the same time Iran have its own problem, but India is having its own interest with this entire region. That is the reason why bringing peace and prosperity in this region is very essential for global powers and also especially to India. So that is the reason why you need to analyze these aspects in this manner, but there is a conundrum happening here and we need to resolve that conundrum, and how they are going to solve, like how they have solved in the Obama era, we need to wait and watch how Iran is going to respond and how America is going to respond and how the other countries are going to respond and also support Iran in this entire thing. We need to wait and watch. Okay, this is something about United States of America's foreign policy in the Middle East and the conundrum in the Middle East, and the India's interest lies with this entire region. Okay, so you will get both prelims and mains aspects. When it comes to the mains, you will get the question with respect to India and Middle East relation. When it comes to the prelims, it is about geographical locations, some of the cities and some of the minority groups that are present here. Those things you will get. Okay, thank you.